I'd now like to take you through V3.7. Now what you've got to do here is construct a precedence graph, process of forward and backward scanning, identifying the critical path, earliest project completion time, and the amount of float time involved in each activity. A very long and comprehensive question. First thing I'll do is to identify a start point, and I reckon I'll identify a finish point over here. Now, when we organise these, what we've got to do, we've got to look very carefully at what kicks the thing off. Now, activity A and activity B seem to kick things off. C follows activity A. So what I will do, I'll create a splay such that A will head upwards like so, and B downwards. Just create a bit of separation between them. Please note that when you do these in class, it pays to have a few spare bits of paper available. So A takes 10 and B takes 15. Let's put the vertices in. Now, reading forward, what follows on from A? C follows on from A. And C takes 3 days in this instance. Now B, what follows on from B? D follows on from B, and we've also got F. Now, reading ahead, D is also preceding activity E, so I'll have to have that factored into my workings here. So I'll put D here, and D takes a total of 7 days. Now, reading on, it looks like E requires both C and D. So what I'll have to do here, I'll enable D as a predecessor, which is pretty common sense there, and E taking 12. And what I'll have to do here, I'll have to generate a dummy edge, or X0. That enables C to proceed, or showing correctly that C precedes E, and D also required for E. And looks like H requires quite a few things at the end, so I'll just finish that off here, and that will be my finish. And H requiring 6 days. Now, it looks like F follows on from here. I don't really like doing this too often, but I'll draw a curved linkage in here, and F10 like so. And C goes to G, or precedes G, I should say. And G takes 5 days, H through to the finish. So just make sure that you're following on the pattern there, and I'll use some abbreviations in order to kick things off. Now, because I'm not going to draw little houses for you, I'm going to start at 0, 0. I'll follow the top chain, 10, and that will require 13 by the time we get to the G activity. Now down the bottom here, 15. Now 15 looks like it's going to be on the critical path. I've got 7 and 12, 19. That will override the F10 business. So I'll just draw this in. That will be 22, and this will be 34, and finishing at 40. Now, doing some forward scanning, 15, 22, 34, 40, I'm correct there, 13, 18, etc. I'm now going to backward scan in order to fit things in. It's a little lazy, but our latest finishing times, the previous activity earlier start times, must be identical on the critical path. And I'll label my critical path at this point. So my critical path is going to be B, D, E, and H. Earliest project completion time is going to be 40 days. Now what I've got to do, I've got to fill in the rest of the timekeeping boxes. Now the rule is, as we go backwards, we look at the 34, there's an option there, but 22 will be smaller. So that will be exactly the same latest finishing time for C as it will be for D. That's a value of 0. Subtracting 3, 22 take 3, will give the latest finishing time for activity A as 10. Now I'm just going to stop the tape and just fill in the earliest start time and the latest finishing times. Probably the easiest way to go is to put in the same ones on the critical path first. So D has as its latest finishing time 22. There is no float time on the critical path sequencing here. And obviously H is on the critical path, 0 float time. Now, armed with this information, what we do, we find the float times. So I'll just quickly put the other ones in. That's just reading straight off the card. So the float time is found by getting the latest finishing time, subtracting it from the time, the earliest start time, and subtracting the activity time. So A will have a float time 19, take 10, take 0 of 9. C will have a float time of 22, take 10, take 3, which will also be 9. Moving on down to F. F will be 34, take 15, take 10, which also gives me 9. A few 9s here. And lastly, for G, 34, take 13, take the 5, which is going to give us a float time of 7. So I better just make a little correction there. 34, take 13, take 5, of course, is going to be 16. So we've now completed that one. These questions that start and then finish following the whole process like that are the more involved ones, but definitely worth your while working it through.